Here. So today I'm going to talk about Her Mistake, His Masterpiece, written by Y. Diona. This book is a BWWM book and is also a Christian novel. This book was very informative, very eye-opening, very enlightening. It was a lot of things, and I would let you guys read it. You guys should read it. It's basically about a young girl, grew up in church, she has Christian background, and she's trying to make a name for herself. At the same time, she's been pulled different directions, been manipulated by older men, and basically don't know her left from her right. The main characters of this book are Yaniah and Jeremiah. The sub-characters are Patrick, London, Jezebel, and Aubrey. So the book basically started about Yaniah working for Patrick. Patrick is her boss. He's married. He's much older than her, and he's basically influencing her to become his protege. That's what we think in the book. And it turned out that whatever he was doing was for selfish reasons. He wanted Yaniah for himself, even though he's married. So he made up some song and dance about his relationship and what's going on. And Yaniah, being young, naive, and gullible as she is, fell for him. Long story short, Patrick was not the man she thought he was. He basically wanted a young puppet that he could control, and that's exactly what happened. He was very abusive, very abusive overall, mentally, physically, and emotionally. He would just hit all the nails on the head with Yaniah, and she basically did not have a way out of it because she felt like she deserved it. But I wanted to strangle her a lot of times in the book because there were a few eye-opener situations that she should have understand and got out of. But if you're young and naive, I guess you could be succumbed to all the bull crap that he basically pulled with her in this book. I felt for her. She was just going through hell and high water with this man, and there was nobody really that could save her. And it just turned out really, really bad for her. It just had me screaming at one point. It was very, very emotional. I wanted to kill Patrick. I wanted to smack her, say, wake up, open your eyes, see the signs, but she couldn't see it. She even talked to his supposedly wife, and she told her everything, and she still didn't. Well, by the time she was able to get out of it, it was too late. Patrick has already sunk his claws into her and couldn't get out of it. In the same aspect, something happened in the book that caused her and Patrick to have a rift in the relationship, and they went their separate ways. She met London. London now is her age and maybe about 2 or 3 years older, I think. Either her age or 2 or 3 years older. And he basically is a mini Patrick because he worked for the same company they used to work with, and London was like a Patrick guinea pig. Like he was a younger version of Patrick, basically. Only things that he wasn't physically abusive, but he also had his dramas too. And she got sucked right back into the same situation that she came out of with Patrick, with London, and it was just ridiculous. And to top it off, London had his crazy baby mama Jezebel. And yes, her name says it all, Jezebel. She was a hot, hot mess. She was just so much going on. It was crazy. And for some reason, like Yaniah, she kept on getting sucked back into these relationships. And I just couldn't understand, like, why can't she get out of it? Why can't she talk to her pastor? Why couldn't she like talk to somebody to help her? She was just so lost, and like I felt her pain because I could imagine being that young and being so much emotional drama, so much hurt. It's like you want to help her, but you don't know how. And it's sad because there's a lot of young girls in our day and time that's going through the same thing, that don't know how to speak up, that don't know how to relate to the situation, or even say, yes, help me get out of it. It's just so much. I felt so bad for her. It was crazy. And it ended up that she was taking care of London and Jezebel's daughter. She was more of a mother to the little girl than Jezebel was. She was more of a parent to the little girl than both of them were. And the little girl started loving her like a mom, because that's the loving and caring that she needed, that none of her parents could give her. And lo and behold, who came back in the picture? Patrick. Yes, he came back full force, and this time he took his physical abuse to an extent. Like, it was bad, like, it's seriously bad. It was so bad that she ended up in the hospital. But what God has for you is for you, because guess what? She met Dr. Jeremiah, who is also a Christian. And he basically brought her back through to herself, because everything that she was going through, she wanted to give up on life. She was like, I can't deal with this. I'm just ready to go. I'm just ready to die. I want to die. He was like, no, you can't give up on God. You can't give up. And he was reading the Bible to her. He was just basically the voice of reason that she couldn't find for herself, or that anybody could give her. He was just that constant reminder that God is good. God is there for you. God will protect you. He was just that person that she really, really needed at that time, and I was so glad for him. He was very smart, very intelligent, very handsome in the book, as you say, and he was very funny, like down to earth. He didn't make because he was a doctor, like he felt like he was better than everybody else. He was awesome. In the same time, she had a little situation, because she's black and he's white. In the same church, there's a deacon daughter named Aubrey or Audrey, one of them. I'm sorry if I said the name wrong. She wanted Jeremiah for herself, and she couldn't get him. Nope, not one bit. So she find ways to basically manipulate Jeremiah to get with him, and he wouldn't do it. He said, no, I'm not doing it. So she ended up going down the wrong street and got herself into some trouble, that the same Uniah that she was trying to fight against was able to save her, encourage her, and bring her back to herself. So one hand helped the other, and I was so glad for that. So glad for that. I'm sorry. I really did enjoy this book. It had me in an emotional roller coaster, but I was glad with the outcome. I think the author did a phenomenal job. This was my first book ever being read by this author. I got this book as a gift. Well, it's not a gift, just to, there's like a free read before it comes out, and I really loved it. I really, really loved this book. I would definitely check out more books from this author. It was emotional, it was intense, it was eye-opening, it was just everything all together. I really did enjoy this book. Thanks again for the free book, Jessica. I really appreciate it. And Diona, you did a phenomenal job. Great read. Thanks. Bye, guys.